Contrary to all the reports and rumors, Amber Heard is still in Aquaman and she has not been replaced. With the trailer for the film being shown at CinemaCon, those who saw it have reported that her character, Mira, is still very much part of the movie, which has a lot of Johnny Depp fans right now screaming. Hi, I'm Stacey Taylor, and today I'm counting down the top 10 dark reasons Amber Heard is still being protected by DC. So why do you think DC is protecting Amber Heard? And will you be watching the new Aquaman movie when it finally hits theaters? And let us know in the comments below. Starting off our list day in the number 10 spot, we have looks. Back in 2022, despite all of her legal drama with Johnny Depp, actress Amber Heard would be named one of the most beautiful women in the world, and she even came close to beating Bella Hadid's nearly perfect score of an absolute face symmetry, which really isn't that surprising, as before all of this mess, we all thought she was both stunning on the inside and on the outside. But now it's clear that she only has beauty on the outside. With Amber Heard's face being 91.85% accurate, media sites have since been flooding with headlines with how beautiful the actress looks on the outside. And it just isn't her face, as the actress also has a pretty stunning body. And even with her trial with Johnny Depp tarnishing her name, people still can't stop talking about how they will always choose to support her because of her looks. Hollywood lives off of good looks to draw in views, and with Amber having a perfect overall look when it comes to Mira, DC executives fear they were to replace Amber, they wouldn't be able to find anyone that could do Mira justice without upsetting fans who loved the first film. But at the end of the day, it's clear that even if you're problematic, you can always get away with anything as long as you have good looks. Number 9. Success in the box office. With Aquaman becoming one of the highest grossing worlds of a DC movie to date, with the movie crossing the 1 billion mark at the worldwide box office, it would be clear that they cross uncharted waters for a DC movie since The Dark Knight Rises in 2012, which marks a potential turning point for the troubled worlds of DC. With Marvel never really having any troubles when it comes to passing the milestone, as they have $6 billion movies under their belt, DC executives are hoping that Aquaman 2 will be just as successful as the first movie in the box office, and that its success can travel on to other movies that they have planned for the future. With no one really thinking that Aquaman would do as well as it did, it actually turned out to be quite a good movie. With Amber Heard and Jason Momoa being great leads for the film, it has made DC realize that if they want the sequel to do just as well as the first movie, they don't really want to mess up anything that could turn fans away. However, it's going to be interesting to see the film and if it will pull off the same amount of success, especially after thousands of fans said they'll be boycotting the movie if Amber Heard doesn't get removed. Hey Diamonds, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what I might just cover next. And seriously, you don't want to miss out on the next video. Trust me, so subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Buzz. With it being confirmed that Amber will continue to reprise her role as Mira in Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom, there has been a lot of buzz surrounding Warner Brothers' move to stand by the actress, and because of this, the movie has been the talk of the tabloids since the start of Amber's trial. For good or for bad reasons, Warner Brothers is pretty happy with the fact that no one can stop talking about the upcoming Aquaman movie, and they knew if they were to replace Amber in the movie, then they probably wouldn't be getting as much buzz as they are getting now. With it still being unclear with how much screen time Amber will actually have in the sequel, especially since she testified during her defamation trial with Johnny Depp that a lot of her role has been cut, it seems like everyone has been silent on the amount of time Amber is actually in the movie for, because they know people are going to be curious and they're going to watch the movie regardless to find out what exactly is going on. And I mean, it's a pretty smart move for the company, especially since they need this movie to be a success in the box office when it's released. Number 7. Contract. With many gossip sites trying to claim that Amber Heard was being cut from Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom, Amber's representatives would be forced to make a comment on the issues when they came out to say the rumor mill continues, as it has from day one. Inaccurate, insensitive, and slightly insane. With the movie moving forward to be released in theaters on March 17th, 2023, since Heard originated the role of Mira in the first film back in 2018, thanks to her contract, it wouldn't really be easy for DC to remove her completely from the film. However, during Amber's testimony, she would say, "I was given a script, and the new given versions of that script that had taken away scenes that had action in it, that depicted my character and another character." Without giving any spoilers away, two characters are fighting with one another together and they basically took a bunch of my role out. Very pared down version of the role. They just removed a bunch out. Apparently Amber is only set to appear in the film for 10 minutes, with the actor earning around $1 million in the first movie and $2 million in the second movie. As discussed in the trial, and per her terms with the DC contract, DC just couldn't get rid of her altogether, as they would still have to pay her regardless. And with the film having a tight budget, they really couldn't afford to bring in another actor to replace the star, as that would cost them millions more. Number 6. They feel bad. According to multiple sources, after Amber and Johnny's defamation trial finished, Amber would be left broke due to her hefty legal fees, and she was even struggling to even treat herself to lavish spending on travel, clothes, gifts, and even wine. With insiders telling the New York Post that Amber had to rely on her homeowner's insurance policy to cover the cost of her legal team in the case. After the trial was over, Amber would find herself to be $6 million in debt. And with Amber now being a mother to a beautiful little baby girl, DC executives feel bad that Amber is struggling to take care of her daughter now, and that she has barely enough money to even take care of herself, especially since Amber has been freaking out when it comes to the fact that she has to pay Johnny $10.4 million. With her lawyer revealing that the actress is broke due to the hefty legal fees associated with her bombshell defamation trial. During the legal trial, she also was painted to be one of the most horrible people alive, and because of this, Hollywood wants nothing to do with her, and it's going to be hard for the actress to even get a normal job, let alone to find another acting job in Hollywood, as Johnny Depp fans have gone completely insane over the information revealed in this case. DC understands also Amber is struggling, and they just want to help her get out of a bad situation so she can take care of her daughter. Number 5. They believe Amber's story. With the details of both Amber and Johnny's testimonies being devastating all by themselves, they both shared some insane, gruesome stories about their relationship. And while the witnesses in the trial were pretty persuasive, and both the actors were pretty distraught when it came to their testimonies, we can never fully be sure anyone was really telling the absolute truth 100% of the time. Despite the fact that London High Court previously found allegations that proved Amber's story of their altercation was substantially true, with much of the internet overwhelmingly picking Johnny's side, especially after it was revealed that Amber lied throughout most of the trial. Even with justice for Johnny Depp was trending on Twitter, DC executives would still decide to have faith in Amber as they believe in her story. With the executives understanding that Johnny fans will always side with Depp even if he wasn't as squeaky clean as he wanted people to believe, DC believes that there was faults on both sides due to both circumstances. They have chosen to stand by Amber regardless of what is to come because they believe that she needs to tell her story and have her truth come out, even if it's twisted and ruins a man's career. DC believes that it's time to believe women and all women, even if their stories don't make sense. And that's why they continue to support Amber. Number 4. Chemistry. Many fans were urging for Warner Brothers to remove Amber Heard from the Aquaman sequel, and an executive for the company would testify that the company was discussing the subject of having her recasted from the film, as her and Jason Momoa just didn't have any chemistry when they were filming. However, her and Jason then worked really hard to get along and fake the chemistry, so the actress wouldn't be replaced on the set. With executives confirming that Heard did have an option contract with Warner Brothers to play Mira in the Aquaman franchise, Heard's role has never also once been reduced in the forthcoming sequel, as because her role was never once impacted by anything Johnny said in his trial. With the executive further diving into the situation, he would explain that in the beginning they had to delay casting due to the ongoing discussion of the recasting in the role of Mira, as there were concerns of their chemistry and the issues between the two leads, when he said they didn't really have a lot of chemistry together. The reality is, it's not uncommon in movies for two leads not to have chemistry. But after editors were able to do some movie magic and make the two look like they had some major chemistry, Warner Brothers thought it would be best not to replace Amber, as they didn't want fear about replacing her and then the movie magic not being able to make it look like the actors had some great chemistry. Number 3. Money. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom reportedly had its reshoot budget reduced by Warner Brothers, with Jason Momoa and Amber Heard reprising their roles after the first film was such a success in the box office after it brought in $1 billion. And it didn't take long for Warner Brothers to give a green light for its sequel. However, according to Variety, it appears that the film had to deal with its own production drama after Amber's case started to go viral, with executives having conversations about how they needed to replace the star, or the film could potentially flop in the box office. Just when they were going to move along with the plan, Warner Brothers Pictures co-headed Pam Abdi would also tell the director James Wan that there wasn't enough room to do so, as he had to reduce his reshoot budget, as apparently if they were to replace Amber altogether, the film would have expanded into $205 million in overproduction. Variety also notes that making any tweaks to Aquaman sequel or any movie coming out within the next couple of years in order to incorporate them into the new DC world would cost the studio several additional millions, and no one wanted to deal with that. Number 2, lazy. In the end, it just seems like the DC world decided to stand by Amber Heard and protect her during this mess of a trial because no one really wanted to do any extra work when it comes to recasting the actor, especially since Amber had such a prominent role within the first film. While it wouldn't necessarily be hard to find another actor who could do the same job, executives would have to hire a casting agent, and then they would have to go through a number of different steps and tests just so they could replace Amber on the set. And with much of the film already being filmed before fans started to call for Amber to be fired, DC also didn't want to figure out how they could work around everyone's schedules just so they could refilm certain parts of the film. They also didn't want to rework out the budget or even deal with a potential court case if they were to fire Amber from the movie. So they just chose to go with everything that was already planned and figure out what to do next if the film does happen to get a third sequel. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Johnny's words. While Johnny took the stand in his defamation trial, he will reveal that he once even reached out to Warner Brothers executives on behalf of his former wife Amber Heard following her audition for Aquaman, when he said, "For a few years I had a multi-film deal with Warner Brothers. So we'd been in business together, so I know these people. I'd been in their films with them." Johnny then revealed that Amber even asked him if he would speak to them for her so she could get the role. With the film being shot in Australia, it was a great concern for her. Johnny then took the time out of his day to make several phone calls to 3 Warner Brothers film executives so he could paint a beautiful picture of Amber. Amber was then able to get the role in the film, as Johnny was able to curb all of the film executives' worries about the actress. On May 17th, Amber then tried to claim that Johnny would later try to get her fired from the film, as she said she saw all these emails and text messages. However, Johnny would only come out to say that this wasn't true, as he would never want to ruin anyone's reputation and make them lose a paycheck, even if that same exact scenario happened to him. And the only person he told this was his sister, because he was upset, as he felt like he was responsible for painting such a beautiful picture of Heard and that they were going to face all these problems in the future for the franchise, and he felt bad. Well, you know, that's it for this video, my little dimes, and until the next one, remember to keep on shining.